Hi, and welcome to Nueces County Community Action Agency Discipline and Guidance Policy and Procedures Training, and so much more. My name is Esmeralda Hernandez. I am the Disability and Mental Health Coordinator, and I welcome you to our virtual training. So before we get started, we're going to go ahead and go over our NCCAA mission statement. NCCAA works with partners to apply comprehensive strategies to eliminate the causes of poverty for the people of Nueces County. So often, children are punished for being human. They are not allowed to have grumpy moods, bad days, disrespectful tones, or attitudes, yet we adults have them all the time. None of us are perfect. We must stop holding our children to a higher standard of perfection than we can attain for ourselves. And this was written by Rebecca Eames. Ladies and gentlemen, we really need to remember that. The next time when you see a child that's crying or having a hard time, really dig deep in there. Really try to find out, get down to their level and find out what's going on. Instead of just snapping at them and saying, stop crying, it's no big deal, your mom will be back in a little while, or she'll be back after you wake up from nap time. Because we don't know what may have happened the night before at home. We don't know, maybe mom and dad got into a really bad argument and things were said and things were done and the child saw and heard that. And the reason now little Sally is crying is because she's worried that mommy's leaving and she doesn't know if something's going to happen to her mommy. But we all just assume automatically, oh, she's just being silly, she didn't get enough rest, she's just grumpy, she's hungry. But there might be something deeper than that. And she just doesn't know how to explain the situation or express herself. And that might be the reason why she's having a grumpy mood, or maybe that's why she's having a bad attitude, or maybe that's why she's crying, because she doesn't know any other way to express herself. And sometimes we just wake up and we just don't feel like going to school. We just feel like staying home and just kind of just chilling. And, children feel the same way too. They're tired, they have things that they're having to do for everybody else, and they just want to just gel. But we often don't realize that we need to give them a little break too. We're always on the go, on the go, on the go. And oftentimes we hear the grown-ups, because I hear myself saying, I'm so tired, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to go here and I have to go there. And I forget that I have a little sidekick that's going along with me. And it's just expected that he just come along and just smile and be content and not give me a hard time. And we have to remember that they have feelings too, and they get tired too. And they should be able to say, I'm ready to go home. I'm tired. I don't want to go to another store. So we have to be mindful of that, and we have to be respectful of that. Just how we're able to express ourselves to our partners or to our friends or our loved ones, we need to be able to give that opportunity for our children and stop punishing them for having human emotions. So I'm sure you're wondering, why are we here today? What are we going to get out of this training? And why do we have to do this? Well, one of the reasons why we have to do this, first of all, is that it's part of our performance standards. Under 1302-90 CII, which is the standards of conduct, it states that a program must ensure all staff, consultants, contractors, and volunteers abide by the program standards of conduct by implementing positive strategies to support children's well-being and prevent and address challenging behaviors. So they want to make sure that we are being respectful, that we are implementing positive strategies with our children, and that we are helping them along the way by being supportive and addressing those challenging behaviors that we may deal with on a daily basis with some children. And it's really critical in the eyes of Head Start that we follow through with these, and they want to make sure that we follow these mandates. So that's why we have come up with the discipline guidance policy that we all will be abiding by and signing at the end of our training. According to Performance Standards 1302.90 CIII, it states that the agency must ensure staff, consultants, contractors, and volunteers that they do not maltreat or endanger the health or safety of children. Now, you may be wondering to yourself, well, I just had an hour-long training of child maltreatment. I already know this. I've already heard this. What is the problem? Why am I here doing this? Well, the reason why we're doing this is because the Office of Head Start needs to ensure that we are not maltreating our children or endangering the health or safety of our children. And in doing so, that means we're going to be trained and we'll receive training throughout the year, whether you receive it at the initial when you start off as an employee, or you're going to get it throughout the year as we're training, according to our TTA plan. And then you're going to, get it during the fall annual training. And we will go over and over and over and over because we want to make sure that everybody understands how important it is that we maintain the safety of all our children. Warning: the following video contains footage that some may find distressing. Video displays violations of the NCCAA Birth to 5 Head Start Child Maltreatment Policy, NCCAA Birth to 5 Head Start Discipline Guidance Policy, and Standards of Conduct.
Joining us, beginning our newscast, a Palm Beach County Head Start teacher is facing child abuse charges tonight. She's accused of locking a preschooler in a school bathroom for more than an hour. News Channel 5's Ryan Calhoun joins us live from outside the Palm Beach County Head Start Center in West Palm Beach. Ryan?
Well, Jay, investigators say it happened inside this Head Start Center right here in West Palm Beach off of North Chillingsworth Drive and Congress Avenue. Right now, that teacher is on administrative leave without pay until further notice, according to the Palm Beach County Department of Community Services. Now, take a look at the woman. It's Dorothy Kelly. She was arrested on Sunday. Investigators say she repeatedly locked a 4-year-old girl in the bathroom and shut the lights off. Police say surveillance video taken in January shows Kelly locked the little girl in the bathroom for an hour and a half on one occasion and nearly an hour the second time. According to the West Palm Beach Police Department, the little girl also was pinched on her legs by Kelly. Police say Kelly told them the little girl kicked her, bit her, scratched and spit on her repeatedly.
There is absolutely no excuse and no circumstance where it's permissible to not only lock a child in a bathroom for extended periods of time, but to physically abuse them.
Initially, when you're dealing with a child, the answer is probably no, but there might have been some justifications that I'm not aware of yet. I want to see that video. I want to see whatever evidence they have. I want to talk to witnesses. I want my client to see that video so she can elaborate and explain to me so I can better understand.
Now, we tried to see that video today, but the victim's family declined to release it to us. Head Start does have a policy that says the bathroom door must be propped open when a child is inside. Both attorneys wouldn't let us speak to their clients. Kelly has worked for the county for more than 10 years, 18 to be exact. We asked her supervisor if she's had any disciplinary issues since he's been the director of that community services department for the past 3 years. He says that he has been the director of that department and he's had no significant issues with her since she has been on board. For now, we're live. I'm Ryan Calhoun, WPTV News Channel 5.
Performance Standard 1302.90 C1II. Under staff, consultants, and contractors, it says that they must not use corporal punishment, use isolation to discipline a child, bind or tie a child to restrict movement or tape a child's mouth, use or withhold food as a punishment or reward, use toilet learning or training methods that punish, demean, or humiliate a child. Staff, consultants, and contractors must not use any form of emotional abuse, including public or private humiliation, rejecting, terrorizing, extended ignoring, or corrupting a child, physically abuse a child, use any form of verbal abuse, including profane, sarcastic language, threats, or derogatory remarks about the child or child's family, use physical activity or outdoor time as a punishment or reward. 1302.90C1 states that the agency must ensure consultants and volunteers respect and promote the unique identity of each child and family and do not stereotype on any basis, including gender, religion, race, disability, ethnicity, sexual orientation, culture, and family composition. Performance Standard 1302.90C14 requires staff, consultants, contractors, and volunteers to comply with the program confidentiality policies concerning personally identifiable information about children, families, and other staff members. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so important that we are mindful of what we're saying about the children, especially around other children. Because if you're making a comment, if it's a negative comment around another child, they're going to repeat it and they're going to say to another adult, oh, little Johnny's doing this, and my teacher said that's what he was doing, or that's why he's doing that. Or she has head lice because my teacher told the other teacher in the other room that Sally has head lice and she has head lice in her hair. So that information needs to stay private. You know, you need to keep it between yourself and maybe your partner. Now, if they are sharing classrooms, like maybe their arrival time is in the other classroom, well, then yes, the other teacher does need to know. But other than that, they don't need to know if Sally has head lice or not. That information is as needed basis. Also, when we have our families and they come to us and they talk to us about their personal issues or they have concerns, things that are going on in their life, and they come and they open up to you, it's not meant for you to judge them. It's meant for you to use that information to provide them resources and to even just be a listener, to develop a relationship and have a connection with that family. It's not meant for you to use as judgment. If somebody is having a hard time with their older daughter or their older son, and you start talking about the child, about what's going on, that's not okay. They confided in you. It's not meant for you to go tell everybody about what the other child is doing. The next one is going to be about the staff. Sometimes we don't think and we don't have a filter and we say things that are hurtful or that are judging, and we need to be really, really careful for that. If we have an employee that's sick and maybe they confided in you that they were not feeling good and they were having a doctor's appointment, it's not our place to tell everybody, well, Miss Ortiz went to a doctor today because she's been having a runny nose or she's having a procedure done. That's nobody's business. That is private information that needs to stay with either their supervisor or HR. But if they're confided in you, then that needs to stay with you only. Performance Standard 1302.90C15 states that the agency must ensure no child is left alone or unsupervised by staff, consultants, contractors, or volunteers while under their care. Please remind the ECI and the LEA, which is our local education agency that comes out to our programs, just remind them that if the child needs to go to the restroom or they are going to come back to the classroom because therapy is over, that they walk them back to the classroom. It's really, really important that we remind them of that. And if they are taking the child out, remember they also have to make sure that the parent signs the permission for therapy services, giving authorization for the child to be removed out of the classroom to receive services. And that's just a little side note for that. Under Performance Standard 1302.90C2, it states personnel policies and procedures must include appropriate penalties for staff, consultants, and volunteers who violate the standards of conduct. So there will be consequences for negative behavior or inappropriate behavior towards children. Whether you're a staff, whether you're a consultant, whether you're a volunteer, it will not be tolerated, and it will be handled accordingly by our administrators. The agency has personal policies and procedures in place for staff, consultants, and volunteers who violate the standards of conduct. Staff who have knowledge of abuse and fail to follow reporting procedures will also be considered liable. Disciplinary action will be taken against an employee if he or she intentionally files a false report against another employee, consultant, or volunteer. It is very important that we do follow through with making the reports. If somebody is mistreating children, do the right thing, speak up, say something, do something about what's happening to that child. The negative impact of child maltreatment within our agency. Unfortunately, situations do arise that a child may be mistreated, that discipline guidance is not followed accordingly, and a child is injured or hurt or suffers some sort of trauma. The negative impact on the alleged perpetrator, in this case would be the NCCAA employee, for violations of the discipline guidance policy and standards of conduct would be disciplinary action up to termination, possible legal ramifications, report investigated by Child Protective Services, report investigated by the local police department, possible charges and arrest, and no longer able to work with children. What methods of discipline guidance may a caregiver use? You're asking, what am I going to do now when they're not listening to me, when I want them to go to this place or to that place to transition from one area to another area? What am I going to do without pulling their arm or yanking at them or screaming at them? What am I going to do? You tell me, Miss Hernandez, what am I going to do? Because they don't listen. The only way they listen is if I'm screaming or I'm hitting or I'm yelling at them or calling them names. That's the only way they're going to listen. Or if I take away their playground time, or if I don't give them their afternoon snack, then they'll listen if I do all those things. Wrong, 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 wrong. Under minimum standard 746.2803, it gives you a list of things that you can actually do. Things that are going to actually work. Because obviously screaming, yelling, and pulling, and hitting, and spanking, and belittling, and putting fear in children does not work. Because if you think about it, you do those things, and they still do whatever you don't want them to do. Why? Because you haven't taught them the skill. Teach them the skill, and they will be able to follow. But if you're screaming and yelling and having these expectations and they have no earthly idea what you want them to do, they're going to just kill with the flow and do whatever they know. So teach them the skills. Teach them, have expectations for the children. As young as infants and toddlers, all the way up to your 17-year-old that's in high school. Have expectations. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And you're going to get some really positive results from them. As long as you're respecting them, you're getting down to their level, and you're explaining to them the reasons why they're going to be more open, because children, they thrive off of structure. Please pledge with me. I am willing to see misbehavior as a sign of missing skills, and instead of punishing, I will work to teach that child a new skill. Mama said there'll be days like this. There will definitely be days like this where you feel that you've just lost total control of your classroom, that the children are running amok and they're deciding what to do, what not to do. They're fighting, they're hitting, they're screaming, they're crying. They are lost. And you feel lost too. And you question, what are you doing here? I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. Or I feel lost, or I don't have the experience, or I don't have the knowledge to handle a certain situation with the child. But you know what? Mama also says not to worry. But you don't understand how I feel. Well, I think we've all been at that point before in our lives as a teacher. It can be really stressful, and it can also be really, really entertaining. And there's so many rewards in the end. But they are those days that make it really complicated and really hard on us. And we feel like we can't reach that child. And when you're feeling overwhelmed, we ask that you take some 3 deep breaths. Use some self-talk to calm yourself down. Remind yourself that you got this, that it's going to be okay, that you're in control of your emotions and your reactions, and that you don't have to lash out to a child, that you're able to say, I need to step out of the classroom because I'm at my capacity. And it's okay. It's okay for you to acknowledge that you're at your breaking point and you need to step out and regroup and then just ask for help. Maybe that point in your career that you have to realize that you need to ask for help, whether it's a assistant teacher helping you in the classroom if you're by yourself, or if you need to conduct a referral for mental health services for a child, then you need to follow through with that. But also seek out help from your partners, seek out help from your manager, and seek out help from the coach coordinators and the mentors. They have a wealth of knowledge as well in working with children with disabilities and challenging behaviors. How do you handle stressful situations? You identify your triggers, you dig deep within yourself to discover the root of the trigger, and you talk about it. You have a conversation with someone and you ask for help. Acknowledge your responses. So, what kind of person are you? Are you someone that when they're stressed out, you fight, maybe physically or maybe verbally? Are you the kind of person that flees under stress? Do you just run off and say, I'm out of here, I'm not going to do this, it's not worth my time? Or do you freeze and do nothing and just allow it to continue? The staff safe phrase policy and procedure. The program staff will create a safe environment and unity in their workplace by demonstrating the use of the safe phrase, I need a Coke and room blank. When requesting immediate emergency assistance or relief due to a stressful classroom situation, the person will be asking for a Coke over the intercom, and we hope that somebody from the support team rushes over to them and provides them some support. Forget calm. I need a Coke. And I should be able to ask for a Coke without having any repercussions or be judged by my peers or be judged by my site-based manager or anybody. If you feel overwhelmed and you feel that you need some assistance in your classroom, by all means request for somebody to help you. Do not feel that you cannot ask for help. It's so important that we have a school community that is open and willing to help each other. The support team is made up of the site-based manager, the lead teacher, and a family service advocate. The team will be the ones who go out to the classroom when the announcement is made is that they need a Coke. And they go and they provide the assistance in the classroom with either the situation that's happening with the child or maybe a situation that may be happening with a parent or another staff member. And they try their best to handle the situation and allow the opportunity for the staff to step out and regroup themselves. The staff safe phrase, I need a Coke in room blank, is for emergency use only. Please do not use that as a time to take a break, and please do not abuse that. If you are having a difficult time in your classroom, and are having a difficult time controlling your emotions or your reactions, please seek the help of your site-based manager, the coordinators, the education team, so we can be able to help you resolve these issues and these concerns. The support team member relieves the program staff for a 5-minute break. This gives the staff some time to relax a little bit, to refresh themselves, and to recharge. Site-based managers or family advocates or lead teachers, if you're part of the support team, please be respectful of that time and allow them the opportunity to step out. Now, if you see a staff member that's visibly upset or frustrated or overwhelmed, take that initiative and read their cues and ask them to step out to take a break. It's better that they step out, take a break, and recharge than to react in a negative manner towards the child, or maybe even react negatively to a staff member or parent. If you have requested a Coke, and by the end of the day, we're requesting that the self-reflection form be completed and you submit it to the site-based manager. The site-based manager and the staff will work together to create an action plan utilizing the ABC method. And then your focus is to self-reflect on what triggered the concern and what can be done next time to avert a crisis or negative reaction to the children. On the self-reflection form, you will be using this as a way to journal what happened, to be able to look at what happened in writing and then work yourself through it. Now, this documentation is for self-reflection, and it will not be used for punitive measures nor to be used on the employee's evaluation. If an employee is asking for help, we need to be able to support that staff member, not use the documentation to write them up. According to Minimum Standard 746.2805, it states what types of discipline guidance or punishment are prohibited. Following types of discipline guidance are prohibited: corporal punishment or threats of corporal punishment, punishment associated with food, naps, or toilet training, pinching, shaking, or biting a child, or hitting a child with an instrument. Put anything in or on the child's mouth, humiliating, ridiculing, rejecting, or yelling at a child, subjecting a child to harsh, abusive, or profane language, placing a child in a locked or dark room, bathroom, or closet with the door closed, requiring a child to remain silent or inactive for inappropriately long periods of time for the child's age, including requiring a child to remain in a restrictive device. Warning: the following video contains footage that some may find distressing. Video displays violations of the NCCAA Birth to 5 Head Start Child Maltreatment Policy, NCCAA Birth to 5 Head Start Discipline Guidance Policy, and Standards of Conduct.
This was a tough case, tough to watch.
19-year-old Mackenzie Howell's classroom at Kids Academy Daycare in Bryant, now the center of a police investigation.
You could kind of tell with her body language that she was in an agitated state that day.
This surveillance video released by Bryant Police shows disturbing events that happened in her classroom back on June 29th, starting with this little girl. According to police, the 8 kids in the room are about 2 years old. When this girl doesn't stop crying, Howell comes back, and it doesn't stop there. Howell sits down in front of her, grabs her ankles, and pulls. The child appears to hit her head on the tile.
That particular day was actually her birthday.
After getting lunch for the children, Howell's attention seems to turn to a little boy in the class. When she goes to put him in a seat, he falls to the floor, hitting the chair and wall on the way down.
These kids are helpless. They can't defend themselves.
According to the police report, a witness informed her supervisor of what happened, and one toddler's parent, who also works at the daycare, contacted the child abuse hotline.
Hopefully that, the kids are young enough that this is something that they won't, remember. But I know mom and dad always will.
Howell faces 2 felonies, so now her future is in the hands of the court.
NCCAA Birth to 5 Head Start does not allow the following as a form of discipline or guidance: children sent to the site-based manager or family advocate office, children sent to another classroom, or using brief supervised separation or timeout from the group, or standing still for any period of time. A couple of reasons why it's not a good idea to send the children to the family advocate office, the site-based manager office, or to a different classroom as a form of punishment is because the children need to be able to feel comfortable and secure at school. They need to be able to have bridge those relationships with the office personnel and the classroom personnel. And if we're instilling the fear in them that if they go and talk to the site-based manager, that the site-based manager is going to get angry at them, then if something were to happen and the manager needed to step in to help the child's going to be afraid because they're going to associate that negative experience that they have with you to the experience of their needing help from you, but they're afraid to ask because of what happened way back when they were in your classroom. Now, the safe place that's in the classroom, the teacher should be going in there with the child. They should be going in together and talking about what's going on, what's bothering them, or just kind of just having a presence there by them, letting them work throughout their maybe their tantrum, or just them just being upset. Just being there as an individual, as a teacher, is really helpful for everyone. Now, of course, standing in line is one thing because you're getting ready to maybe transition, but standing in a square is another. And standing in squares, or them having not able to be moving on the cot or while they're sitting down, is nearly impossible. And we need to stop wasting our breath and saying stop moving, stop wiggling, because it is so hard to lay on those uncomfortable cots or sit on that hard floor all this, all day long. So give them a little break and be their partner and help them out. These are some examples of staff safe places at the center level. You don't necessarily need to have a large area for this. It would be nice if you did, but a small area to just give the staff a place to go and recharge. At Little Hornet Head Start, she actually has a table with maybe a box of Kleenex, because sometimes when we're stressed, we cry, or some soothing lotion with different scents that she has available for her staff. She has a little mini fan because when we're overwhelmed, we do tend to get hot. And there's a little fan, individual fan, that could be turned on if you're using her staff safe place. Now, if you do look at that corner of that picture, she does actually have some Cokes, and on the opposite side, she has some waters. So I'm pretty sure if it's pretty stressed out, she allows the staff to have one of the drinks to kind of help calm them down. Now, Miss Larissa works at Prometa, and at that center, it's very limited space as well, but they've utilized the cabinets to get messages to their staff and to provide them with some information as well. Believe it or not, we do get stressed out at central office. Maybe a little bit more than we'd like to admit at times, but we do get stressed out. And we have some areas at central office, like Ms. Trish Ramos's office. She has an area in her office that she has lotions there. She has her little refrigerator with some waters and some drinks in there, and a little box of goodies too. She does have a box of Kleenex for those moments when things get really stressed out and just maybe a little good cry. Sometimes it helps out. And that plush pillow with that teddy bear picture on it, it is really comforting. It's very cuddly, and I've sat in that chair before many a time and just melted into that chair, into that pillow. She does have rain sticks in her office, which the sounds really are put you at ease. The sounds like falling rain is very calming. Now, in the other picture, the third picture, where Ms. Madi Garcia is sitting, she's actually utilizing our disability and mental health staff safe place, We have candy in there, guilty of that, chocolates. And we also have some Play-Doh. We have some squishy balls or stress balls. We have blankets on the chairs. We try to make it as cozy as possible. And then we also have our signs up that have the combat stress signs. Our posters are up. And it's really a area where you can come in and just talk. Sometimes we've had people come in and just really sit and talk and really just let it loose, and they kind of recharge themselves, and it makes us feel like all helpful, even if sometimes all we're doing is listening. I think sometimes that's just enough to have somebody listen to an individual and just be supportive, and just know that even at central office there is a place for you, that you can go, and if you need some relief, we have open door policy where we are available to provide some support to you as best as we can. Working collaboratively with your partner is one of the best practices that you can do. Keep an open mind, be ready for some constructive criticism, and then apply the tips that they give you. Sometimes we do not accept that constructive criticism because we feel like we are supposed to do it all. But look at the meme here, the little gif here. Even Superman needs some help from his friend Batman. We have to help each other out. You're in that classroom with your partner. Look at each other. See, what do we need to work on? What do we need to plan? What do we need to anticipate? We will be prepared for little Johnny, little Susie, and the other 16 other children that are going to come into our classroom. And we're going to be ready, and we're going to conquer the day together. And the thing is, it's together. Work with each other. Please try your best not to separate from that. You're in it together. You're in it to win it, and you're going to make great changes together and in these children's lives. You can't do it alone. You got to have your partner there with you, because if you're in a classroom by yourself, you yourself are going to be your own motivator. You're going to say, I got to do this. The children are counting on me, and I'm going to get it done. When you're in a classroom with another partner, sometimes it's like, well, look, what is she doing? What is she doing? What is she doing? No, we need to be looking at, what are we going to do together? What are we doing? What are we planning? And develop that bond and be able to be open, have a tough skin. If we're maybe are offbeat or something, we should be able to recognize those within each other, and to be able to give a cue and say, you're taking a little too long on the carpet, and you're not going to get your feelings hurt. You're going to be like, oh yes, I am. I lost track of time. So just be mindful on how you communicate with each other. You don't want to demean or humiliate anybody in front of others. That's not what it's intended for. It's to be able to sit together and talk about what happened in the day and what can we do to improve it if it was a rough day. Another thing you can do is to teach positive behavior by switching it up. That's the easiest thing that we can do. It's really easy. We got to flip it. What behavior do you want to see? And you spotlight that behavior. How will you help the child behave differently? By role modeling, by encouraging them. And why do you want to do this? Because we want to have a constructive classroom, a productive classroom. We want children to grow and to learn new skills. But if we're not teaching them the skills, they're not going to know what to do. And you're going to be back to square one. It's going to feel like it's the first day of school all day long, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, until you start recognizing the behaviors you want to see, and you help the child to behave differently. Give them those tools. Believe me, they don't want to be getting in trouble every single day or every minute of the day that they're at school. And they definitely don't want to get in trouble when they go home. So help them out, please. Teach them those skills so you can give them those protective factors, so they don't feel like they're not able to accomplish that type of behavior, the type of expectations that you have for them. They need your help. They just don't know how to ask. We have so many resources at our fingertips. Over the stay-at-home orders, conscious discipline was given away resources for us to utilize. Printables, they were giving us activities, they were giving us webinars. It was open to the public and it was free. All you had to do was sign up. And there was so much information, and I really hope that you all dug into that y'all each put your hand into that pot and pulled out some great ideas and great activities. The Q-tip method is one of my favorite conscious discipline methods. It's so easy. All you have to do is quit taking it personally. I've been practicing this for years. Before conscious discipline became really popular or walked into my life, I have always thought to myself, quit taking things personally. It's not about you. It's about that person, or it's about the situation and how can we handle it. And believe me, it's hard. It's hard to pull yourself away from it. I get it. But once you do, and you're working with a child, you have to remember that there's something going on that might be a little bit deeper than what you think. We got to give them the opportunity and the ways to express themselves in a positive manner, but also be open to if maybe we need some additional help in the classroom, or maybe we need to get some resources for this child, or maybe doing a referral to the mental health services department. It really just depends. But don't think that little Johnny or little Susie is getting up and thinking, well, when I wake up today, I'm going to get to school, I'm going to start cussing the teacher out. No, they're not thinking that. Or when I get to school, I can't wait to see my teacher and I'm going to throw this chair at her. No, they're not thinking that. It's just the way it goes. It's the way that the moment and the day is going for this particular child, and they don't have no outlet other than to push everybody away. And if we're taking it personally by saying, I don't want you in my classroom, I don't need you here, you need to go home, I don't want to be around you, go sit over there. Well, guess what? He doesn't have, or she doesn't have the cognitive skills to say to themselves, I'm not going to take that personal. Because they're not at that level. They're taking it all personal. And they're going to feel offended and they're going to be withdrawn. And that's not what we want. So be the adult, be open-minded, and quit taking it personally. It's about the child. Like the song says, we all need someone to lean on. At one time or another, we do need to lean on someone. And we work with a great group of individuals that are more than willing to help you if you would just ask them. And you can definitely lean on them. Now I'm going to read a quote or a prayer for a provider. It says, although I'm not their mother, I care for them each day. I cuddle, sing, and read to them and watch them as they play. I see each new accomplishment and help them grow and learn. I understand their language and listen with concern. They come to me for comfort and I kiss away their tears. They proudly show their work to me and give the loudest cheers. I'm not their mother, but my role is just as strong. I nurture them and keep them safe, though maybe not for long. I know someday the time may come when we will have to part, but I know each child I've cared for is forever in my heart. The children are worth you taking care of yourself and you doing the right thing. You're worth it. Getting back to what positive methods of discipline guidance can you use with the children? You want to use things that are going to encourage their self-esteem, their self-control, and self-direction. And using praise and encouragement is one way of spotlighting the positive behavior. Instead of only focusing on the unacceptable behavior, start spotlighting the behaviors that you want them to do, the things that you want them to do. Give them those kudos. They need that. Just like how we need that little pat on the back, children need it too. Remind the children of behavior expectations by using clear, positive statements. For instance, in this picture, the children are playing with the water toys in the water tub. If you want them to keep the water inside the tub, just tell them water stays in the tub. That's it. It stays in the tub. You don't have to give them a drawn out, if you spill the water, we're going to fall, and then what are we going to do? I'm going to have to put it away. No, just stick with the basics. Keep the water in the tub. That's it. Simple as that. Redirecting behavior using positive statements will help the child develop positive self-esteem. When you're telling the child over and over and over, put that over here, or do that over there, or come over here, or share that, give me that, that's not yours, he had it first, you need to wait. Those things are not positive. We got to flip it, and we got to use our positive tone. We have to use our positive expressions on our face, use our body expressions to help the child feel at ease and to feel comfortable, that maybe even if he's off task, that he knows that you have his back, basically, that you're going to encourage him and you're going to help him to get on task by using positive redirecting statements. Well, we're getting close to the end of our training. Now it's time to sign the NCCAA Birth to 5 Head Start Program Discipline Guidance Plan. So for the initial staff orientation, you will be receiving a goal training agenda. Now that goal training agenda, you're going to document and sign it with your name, put your date on it, and you're going to check off employee, and you're going to also document the training on the new staff orientation log, and then you're going to file it in a new staff orientation section. That will stay in the new staff orientation section. You cannot remove that. That's always going to be there. Now the annual training, if you're receiving this training as an annual training requirement, you're going to document on the staff training and development log, and you're going to file it accordingly in the current year. You will also be signing it with your signature. You're going to put the date that you received the training, and then you're going to check off employee. This is our discipline and guidance policy for Nueces County Community Action Agency Birth to 5 Head Start program. We went through this whole form already. All you need to do now is sign it and indicate whether you're a parent, guardian, employee, or other. Make sure you put the date on there. A copy of this form, along with the policy and procedures, are in the Disability and Mental Health Services Program Policies and Procedures Manual. Well, you've survived 1 hour of training with me, where we'll be doing the NCCAA Discipline and Guidance Policy and Procedures and so much more training agenda. Number 1, using sarcastic language is not against the NCCAA Discipline and Guidance Policy or Standards of Conduct, since you are not injuring the child. True or false? The answer is false. Number 2, one way to prevent child maltreatment is to manage your emotional triggers when working with young children. True or false? The answer is true. Number 3, staff who utilize the "I need a Coke" phrase will be given an ice cold Coke and an hour-long break. True or false? The answer is false. Number 4, teaching staff can send a child to the classroom safe place until the child calms down and thinks about what he or she has done. True or false? The answer is false. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure presenting to you virtually. Thank you for your patience, and I wish you all a great rest of the summer. If you have any questions or you have any concerns, please feel free to get in touch with your site-based manager, and they will be getting the list together of questions and they will forward them to me. As always, my door is always open, not only because I don't have a door, but because it is always open. So you're always welcome to give me a call or stop by the office and we can always talk. Remember, there is a safe place in my office for each and every one of you. Thank you. Yeah, have a great summer. Be safe, wash your hands, and stay kind.